Good morning, students. Welcome to the online class of Social Studies. Today we are going to study the first chapter, The Story of the Past. The Story of the Past. Here we have three main topics. First one, what is history? And second one, why study history? And third, different periods in history. The story, first lesson, the story of the past. We have three main topics. First one, what is history? And second, why study history? And third one, different periods in history. Today we are going to study the first topic, what is history? Before start the lesson, let me ask some questions. Have you ever thought that how people live in the past? What was their food habits? What type of clothes they used to wear? And their houses were made with which materials? And which transport they used? Why we are celebrating Independence Day? Children, you know any answer of this question? So, we can find all these answers to study history. Whatever happened in the past, that we will study in history. Have you looked at old family albums at home? It helps us to know about our family history. When you look at old family picture, you are learning your family history. You know about your grandparents when you see these photos. In lesson, we have one table. Here it is given. Fill in the table with the details about your grandparents. Name of your grandmother, grandfather, place of birth, year of birth, name of their school, their best friend's name. The information that you filled in the table tells you a story about your grandparents. This story is called history. The information that you filled in the table tell you a story about your grandparents, their place of birth, year of birth, name of their school, their best friend's name. When you fill all this information, you know about your grandparents' past. Means the story is called history. So, what is history? The word history comes from the Greek word historia. The word history comes from the Greek word historia. It means to inquire. When we look at the word history, you will find the word story in it. You will find the word story in it. When we look at the word history, you will find the word story in it. Story in it. Therefore, history is the story of the people who lived earlier. History is the story of the past. It tells us about people and events of the past. What is history? History is the story of the past. It tells us about people and events of the past. History is the study of the past, the record of the past that happened long years ago. It tells us about the life of the people during a particular period of time. It is a written account of development of human civilization. It tells us about the following. History is the story of the past. It tells us about the following. We have 4 points here. First one, the people who lived long ago. The first point, the people who lived long ago. The second, the things that people have done, the inventions, the discoveries, and so on. And third one, some important events that happened. And last one, why events happen in the past. We have 4 points, each one we are going to discuss. First point, the people who lived long ago. For example, rulers, leaders, saints, painters, musicians, and so on. In your book, we have some pictures given. Emperor Ashoka, a great ruler. Kabir, a popular saint. How you come to know about these people? Because the study of history helps us to know about these great personalities. So the people who lived long ago is Emperor Ashoka, a great ruler. Kabir, a popular saint. And the second point, the things that people have done, the inventions, the discoveries, and so on. The things that people have done. For example, the first toys that people made, the first cities that they built, the invention of wheel, the discoveries, the discovery of fire, the battles, and so on. The invention of wheel was a major landmark of the history of early humans. And the discovery of fire was an important event in human history. And the next point, some important events that happened. For example, Satyagraha led by Mahatma Gandhi, India's struggle for independence, and so on. So that's some important events. And why events happen in the past? For example, people fought for India's independence because India was not a free country. We all know our leaders, Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose, etc. They fought against British and we got freedom. Children, how you come to know these all things? Because the history helps us to study the past. So, the people who lived long ago, the things that people have done, the inventions, the discoveries, and so on. Some important events that happened. Why events happen in the past? We come to know all this point because we are studying the history. So, children, today we have finished what is history and what history tells us. What is history? And history, I told already, history, the word itself we can see story. History is a story of the past. It tells us about people and events of the past. It tells us these points, the people who lived long ago. I given the example, Saint Kabir. Second, the things that people have done, the inventions, the discoveries, and so on. The inventions, the invention of wheel, the discoveries of fire. Next, some important events that happened. Mahatma Gandhi's India's struggle for independence and so on. Why events happen in the past? These are the 4 points. What is history? History is the story of past. It tells us the following things. The people who lived long ago, the things that people have done, some important events that happen, why events happen in the past. In this topic, you have a homework. Question number 1. What is history? Write any two things that it tells us about. What is the question? What is history? Write any two things that it tells us about. 4 points I have given. We have to write any two things that it tells us about. This is the answer. History is the story of the past. It tells us the people who lived long ago, and second, the things that people have done. So, history is the story of the past. It tells us, first point, the people who lived long ago, and second, the things that people have done. We finish our first topic, what is history. We have three topics, what is history, why study history, and different periods in history. Tomorrow we will discuss the next topic, why study history. So what is history? History is the story of the past. It tells us about people and events of the past. The word history comes from the Greek word historia. Historia means to inquire. When we look at the word history, you will find the word story in it. Therefore, history is the study of the people who lived earlier. History tells us the following things. The people who lived long ago, the things that people have done, some important events that happened, why events happen in the past. Okay. History is the story of the past. And I given one question answer also. You can copy from this answer. There is two questions. What is history? History is the story of the past. It tells us, second point, first one, the people who lived long ago, and second point, the things that people have done. You have to study, copy this answer, and you have to study. Thank you.